everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to, at last, the demo of the Revv Generator 740. Probably the most asked about piece of gear that I've had in quite a while. So many people have been asking when the demo would be up. Well, it's here at last. So, yes, this amp has been insane. I can't get over how much I love this amp. I want to use it. It's so versatile, and it just kind of does everything. So one thing real quick before we dive in too much of the amp, the guys over at Revv were ridiculously nice and did give me a promo code for anybody who's interested, but it is a limited one to only 5. So if you want one of these amps, I have a promo code that the first 5 people who get it, it's just Baker10, can save 10% on one of these amps. So after those first 5 are gone, unfortunately the code will no longer work, but that is extremely nice of them. So big thank you to them over there for doing that. So the signal path, real quick, is simply guitar plugged into the Revv. The Revv is running into the 2 notes reload box, and I basically have an IR for a 212 cabinet. And the delay that you were hearing was this, right into the effects loop of the amp, which I'll talk about that stuff here in a second. And reverb was just from the Axe effects. So, a really simple, straightforward kind of setup with it. So let's talk about the amp for a little bit, because obviously I just like the way the amp looks. So just start with that. I'm a person who believes that you play a piece of gear with your eyes first, and if a piece of gear looks good, it intrigues you to go over there and play it. And this one definitely did instantly. And to those of you who don't know, the kind of like a little bit of the backstory, real quick, is basically I played this amp at Summer NAMM. I was playing at a booth and they let me borrow it. And I asked them, I was like, hey, is there any way I can demo one of these and, maybe buy it? Because I want to spend more time with this amp because I liked it so much. And they were super nice and sent one over to me a few months later. And then I literally, like, the next day, I played the amp for probably like 4 or 5 hours straight. And then just like messaged Derek over there and I was like, this is, okay, what's your PayPal? Because I have to have this amp. And then bought it. So this amp does so much stuff. So basically it's categorized as a 2-channel amp. And a lot of you guys know I'm not like super specky about gear. For tube stuff, this has 4 12AX7s in your preamp. It has 4 6v6 GT tubes in the power section. So, like I said, aesthetically aside, the amp is just, beautiful to look at. It comes in a lot of different colors that you can choose from. I chose this color. A lot of you guys know. I was thinking like this seafoam surf green, whatever you want to call it. So let's get to the amp. So it is, like I said, basically it's called a 2-channel amp, but one moment on that thought, because it does a lot more than 2 channels. So basically you have your clean channel right here, and then you have your crunch channel. I'm gonna cheat and use the foot controller for a second. So you have channel 2. I guess it's still channel 1. It's your crunch channel, and they have kind of like a shared EQ system. But what's nice is you have a crunch and bright switch here, and then of course your gain, and then your normal EQ. And you can run either of these channels in 7-watt or 40-watt mode. And that's actually pretty significant, because you can run just your normal clean channel if you wanted to, and run it in 7-watt mode and really crank it, because a broken up clean is different than a distorted sound. So they just react differently to your playing and stuff like that. And one thing I found about this amp that was really crucial for me as a player is I do a lot of stuff with my volume knob on my guitar to get different tones while I'm playing live or just playing in general, and this amp reacts extremely well to that type of like dynamic control out of a guitar. So that was really impressive to me right away. Now I tend to rock both these channels in 40-watt mode, definitely the higher gain one in 40, that way you get all that nice headroom, so you don't want to miss that. But you could totally rock this at 7-watt. It still sounds killer on 7-watt mode if you don't want to be waking up the neighbors. Now that's kind of the first channel 1 and the crunch channel. Now we're going to get to the foot pedal here in just a second, because that is a crucial component to this whole working station here. Now once you kind of flip over to channel 2, oops, there we go. Channel 2, there's lots of different options for you. So let me turn these off for just a second until we get to them. So channel 2 is your higher gain mode, and like I said, you can also do the 7 and 40-watt. And what's interesting is, as far as the overall tone, it doesn't suck the tone out when you go to 7-watt mode. It still sounds the same. As once you crank it up, that's when you hear the headroom difference and stuff like that. Now, what's cool is they have a fat switch, which does exactly what you think it does. It fattens up the tone. So if I'm rocking a Strat, the fat switch is on. Now, if I'm playing a Les Paul, they have a bright switch. So I tend to brighten it up because, you know, you get that dark compressed Les Paul sound. You can brighten it up. Now you have a contour switch here. Oh, let me turn that on. And then this is kind of just like a low mid push. So, you know, it's just, they've added so many crucial components to this amp. Now the aggression switch is really interesting. So basically you have your aggression switch, which I'm going to call it gain staging, but it's not the way a normal amp gain stages. So a lot of amps, when they have a, you know, a gain stage, it kind of just gets fuzzier or fizzier, if you know what I mean. I've played amps where when you really crank the gain goes from this nice distortion to this like kind of like blarty fuzz sound, and I don't really like that too much. And a huge kudos to this amp on the fact that you can turn the gain all the way up. Doesn't get that way. The notes are incredibly defined, even at that. That's more gain than what I would ever need to use, but it's really impressive. So you have the aggression, and like I said, it's not even so much that it adds more gain. It's just like it adds a different voice to it. It's like a tighter sound. You know, the compression really kicks in, and you have two of those. Really versatile. Now, what kind of to me sets it apart and over the top is this little thing right here. Now, this is their controller that comes with the amp. They have a whole range of amps. I'm actually really looking into getting a 120 now because I like this amp so much. So basically, this is kind of like the stock format. You have your mode 1, trying to get to where you can see it pretty good. Your channel 2, your effects, you can turn your effects loop on and off, and your mute. So it's really just like a straightforward. Oh, sorry, I have it in preset mode right now actually. Let me change that. So now you can see it's just real straightforward. Effects loop on and off. You have a mute switch on there as well. Now, what I did a minute ago that I meant to turn off a second ago, if you hold channel 1 down, it puts it into preset mode. So you can actually program 4 different presets for your amp. So this is so crucial for live playing because check this out. So I have channel 1, you know, is going to be my clean sound. Channel 2 is my crunch, that AC/DC style crunch. Channel 3, well, that's my high gain rhythm. Channel 4, well, that's my lead tone. Boom. I mean, it's like, that's impressive. I mean, like, that legitly has me even more excited about the amp. So on the back, you're going to see you have your effects loop. Now, what's cool is they have actually a volume control. So a lot of amps just have a straight effects loop, but just kind of like you get what you get. Be happy you even have an effects loop. But this one, they have an actual independent volume for your effects, which I think is cool. And also for your cabinets, you have 4, 8, 16 ohms. And it's all by dial. It's not just like a whole bunch of different inputs. If you're someone like me who's going to get confused and be like, wait a second, which input's this? No, it's just a simple dial. So that is the 740. So let's go ahead and get to some time. here today. Thank you so much for checking out. Like I said, don't forget 5 promo codes. That is it. So if you want one of these amps, I would jump on it because I think right now they can probably get your amp to you fairly fast, but I know that they have been getting busy over there, especially with the holiday season. So go check that out. All their stuff is down below. You can check out their Facebook page, their website. I got you guys hooked up with the links. And other than that, I'm gonna see you all later. Peace out, homies. Keep on rocking, and I'll see you next time.